So, with the NHL on lockdown, we're going to take a look at something I was going to save for the summer to talk about, but we have the time now, so I'm going to talk about now the NHL and the injuries that we are seeing to the face. Could we possibly see NHL players wearing cages on their helmets? We're going to talk about that in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And if you want to check out some of my other content on the channel, over 300 videos, make sure to check that out as well. And let's get right into the video. So, face injuries in the NHL, it's been pretty apparent that guys get nicked up, pucks riding up the stick, hitting them in the face, high sticking. And then Johnny Boychuk a couple weeks ago when he got a skate right in his eyelid, which took 90 stitches and could have been pretty bad if it got a little bit lower. You look where the eyelid is and where your eyeball is, a skate that's razor sharp and gets pretty much sharpened every period, I would think, that's probably not going to be a great result. So luckily things worked out for Johnny Boychuk, but it kind of made me question, could we see the NHL ever go into a direction? Recently we've seen they've mandated where players have to wear a visor, which goes pretty much, depending on how players use it. Like Leo Komarov is a perfect example. He just puts it up and it's basically not even there. He sticks his helmet up, so it's basically like it's not even there. And then you have situations like we saw a couple weeks ago in that Islander game. It really makes you wonder, could the NHL consider possibly, implementing a system where they force players to start wearing cages? Now, if you look, I think the biggest thing in this situation, we'd have to see it start in the lower levels of hockey, which we kind of do. High school leagues, pretty much all of the NCAA forces players to wear cages. And then once you get into, junior hockey, they're kind of lenient on that, and they start going to the visors. A lot of junior leagues in general in North America, you could go visor, pretty much just with the visor, and that's it, and really ditching the cage. Now I can attest, wearing the cage is not fun. It's hard to see through and things like that, and some would say it doesn't look as professional, things like that. But is it worth it to lose your eyeball to not wear a cage? So it's just something I was thinking about. Looking at some stats back in 2015, doing a little bit of research here, we saw the largest group of injuries were lower body injuries, which made up for 20% of the injuries in that NHL season. Over 100 players were in this survey. 15% of them were upper body injuries, so no surprises here. Obviously, upper body, you're talking shoulder injuries, head injuries, but actually concussions was a separate topic, and we'll get into that also. But, upper body, chest, getting hit into the boards, just soreness. Obviously, lower body is the highest because you think about your skating, how much those guys use their legs on a daily basis, skating, powerlifting, everything else in the mix. Your body definitely starts to wear out, and your legs are essential, especially in the NHL and pretty much any other sport. Foot injuries, leg injuries, knee injuries. There's just a lot going on down there. It makes it pretty easy to unfortunately get injured. Concussions made up for 12% of injuries, so that's a little bit alarming as well, especially with all the things going on with the concussion stuff recently over the past couple of years and the lawsuits. I'm sure it won't be the end of the story here, but it's definitely interesting to keep an eye on that as well. Foot injuries, shoulder injuries made up only 8% of the injuries. I don't know where they're coming up with this because they said upper body and lower body. Are they including shoulder and foot injuries in that? I don't completely know. But then we're looking at knee injuries, which also makes up 7% of injuries. So again, you're looking at a situation where injuries. I mean, it happens. Knee injuries, like I said, you're using your legs a lot. You're skating. It's easy to get. The puck is a lot close. Your knees are a lot closer to the ground. The puck can easily hit your knee if somebody hits you in the knee with a stick, or knee-to-knee contact and a hit. So there's so many scenarios where that comes in. Now this is interesting. So we're talking about the face injuries, right? Facial injuries, Achilles tendon, leg injuries, each accounted for 3%. So we're talking about facial injuries only making up 3%. is it really that important? It only makes up 3% of the injuries we see in the NHL. Is it really that important? I think so. I mean, we've talked about in the past, you look at certain injuries. Obviously, they've talked about making more protection for the wrist. Obviously, you look at a lot of players, and playing hockey, I kind of know this. It's not really a good thing to know, but there's an open spot where the glove goes pretty high up, and if you look back in the day, the gloves were like just like a rock. I don't even know how they put those things on. It looks uncomfortable just looking at it in the picture. I don't know how they wear them. But it would go all the way. It would go pretty far down your arm to protect your wrist. Nowadays, they don't really do that, and it's a very good spot if you want to slash somebody, or you're playing Brad Marchand or a Brad Marchand-esque player. Just hit them right there, right above the right where the wrist is, right below the glove, and that's a pretty open area. God forbid a Chara or a Weber slap shot hits that when you're blocking a shot. It's probably not going to go too well. Especially, now we're looking at the skates, how sharp they are. Slice that. There's a lot of arteries right there. It's probably not a good spot to have wide open again. So that's been talked about. There's obviously been neck. What are those called? The neck protectors. It supposedly helps with concussions. I don't know how much. How many players use it, properly? If you just put it on, it's not really going to help with a concussion. You have to put it on properly. I think the NFL is trying to do some of that as well at the lower levels of football. But I think we're kind of seeing that come to fruition. But again, we saw that really bad, nasty injury where the goaltender got his slit throat right in the crease. He was bleeding all over the place. It was a scary moment. So now, NHL goaltenders are required to wear that little dangly thing that comes down onto their jersey a little bit. So I guess it's better than nothing, but how much is that really doing? So I know a lot of leagues overseas, they actually force their players to wear those things that go across your neck, which again, it doesn't look as professional. It's more uncomfortable. It's more things you have to put on, but it's for safety. And overall, I think a lot of players just, it's worth it. It's not going to happen to me until it happens to you, and it's too late. So that's it for this video. Leave in the comment section down below. What do you think of the NHL? Maybe being a little bit more aggressive with, either wearing a cage on the helmet, wearing more protection on the neck, more wrist protection as well. Leave those in the comment section down below. What do you think of the NHL possibly doing that? And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for checking me out, and have a great day.